Tony Hody Training and Consulting presents the Crash Course Podcast. Sponsored by Engage, Builder Prime, and Hiring Strategies. Your weekly destination for coaching, inspiration, and new skills to help you maximize your income and success in the home improvement sales industry. Here are your hosts, sales and training experts, Phil Wiley and TJ Parsons.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Crash Course Podcast, sponsored by Engage, Builder Prime, and Hiring Strategies. My name is TJ Parsons. I'm joined once again by my co-host, Phil Wiley. And Phil, before we get started, just a quick reminder that if you or your company is in need of recruiting assistance, sales training, process development, or any help at all as it pertains to the home improvement industry, go to TonyHody.com and schedule a free 30-minute consultation or reach out to us using the contact information listed in the description of this video. Phil, it's episode 4. How are you?
I'm awesome, TJ. Yeah, we heard from a lot of people this week needing help. So it's a lot of fun. It's awesome. We're working with several companies now, and some of them we're helping them find salespeople. Some of them we're helping them recruit sales leaders. We're doing closers camps and training. One company we're helping them completely do their entire methodology and sales presentations. So it's been a fun week. Talked to a lot of people, and we're very excited about where we're going and the direction. And we thank everybody for your support and your help. And make sure you like and subscribe and keep going with us. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for the amazing feedback. We're just happy to be able to provide you with valuable content. So looking forward to doing a lot more. And we know we got big stuff in the future, which leads us to a question we got from last week, which was, when are you scheduling your first closers camp?
Yes, we're gonna schedule a closers camp in the near future. We haven't put an exact date on it yet, but we want to make sure that we build it up properly, give everybody enough time to get registered and sign up for it, make sure that our sponsors are promoting it as well. We want a really good turnout for it because we feel that we've got some amazing information that we want to work with everybody on. Starting today, when you watch this podcast and going forward until the webinar, if you send an email to phil@tonyhody.com with your name, the company you work for, your position, and just put, I want to enter the giveaway. We're going to give away a spot at the webinar where you can actually attend it for free. It'll be an hour and a half, 2-hour Zoom or meeting online, and we look forward to giving you some dates as we start to finalize things and get closer to the day of the webinar. So
and this giveaway
enter today.
The giveaway is great because if you win the giveaway, this is going to be free admittance for both you as an individual and your entire organization. So anyone on your team, whether it's salespeople, sales managers, anyone that you would like to attend this, you can, totally free, totally on us. So again, just send that information over to phil@tonyhody.com, and we'll see who wins coming up here in a couple weeks.
Awesome. What are we going to talk about this week, TJ?
Well, our topic for this week is going to be procrastination. And as we've mentioned a few times on these podcasts, we have always subscribed to the philosophy of blocking objections, which means taking care of that objection and eliminating it during your pitch rather than attempting to overcome it at the close. So we're going to go through a few things today about what procrastination really is and how you can sprinkle in different language throughout your entire sales pitch from even before you arrive at the home to help mitigate the chance for someone to say, I need to think about it, or I need to sleep on it when you get to the end. And so I'd like to start with Phil just going over what procrastination really is, because I think there's a large misconception about when your customer says, I want to think about it or I want to sleep on it. I think a lot of people really don't understand what that actually means.
Right. So when I was looking up the definition of procrastination, I came across what do you kids call it? A meme? Is that what they're called today? Memes?
Yeah.
a meme. But anyway, it was a sign that said the Procrastinators Anonymous meeting for this evening has been rescheduled till tomorrow.
Right.
And I got a kick out of that. But when you look up the definition of procrastination, it says the act of intentionally putting off something that should be done. And I love that definition. Then it also goes on to say an act of unnecessarily, meaning you don't have to, and voluntarily, which means you're doing it on purpose, delaying or postponing something despite knowing that there could be negative consequences for doing so.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
And so when you listen to the definition, a lot of people, when they think of procrastination, it means the customer's really going to wait for you to leave their house and they're going to go get supplies. We're going to need several days worth of water. We're going to need some food, maybe some clothes, and we're going to go somewhere and we're just going to talk about this decision and we're not going to come back until we make a decision. And that's not what happens. There's no more thought. The emotion wears out very quickly. And then all of a sudden it goes back into the filing cabinet as a future project. They don't think about it. They don't pray about it. They don't talk to mom. They don't talk to dad. It's just a way of not having to make a decision. But the definition of it's perfect. It's putting off something that should be done. And it's unnecessarily, meaning there's no reason to put it off, but you're doing it on purpose, knowing that there could be negative consequences. So the definition of procrastination itself, Tim, is an entire sales meeting if we wanted to do it.
If we were to ask you who and what is your competition, most people will say another company or the economy or some other outside force. Your real competitor is the customer's fears. It's their lack of knowledge about how to do a remodeling project and their preconceived notion of what they think this price is going to be. Procrastination, which is the customer saying that they want to think about it or they want to sleep on it, is just the verbal manifestation of those fears. If they don't feel comfortable and ready to make this huge financial decision, what is their go-to defense? I need some time to think about it. The goal of your presentation is to provide security and comfort to the customer in the form of information. If they trust and believe your company, your products, and your services, if they believe you have a great price, and if they truly believe that they need to get this work done, then there's nothing to think about. If your car breaks down tomorrow and you find the exact car that you want at a great price, you're not going to think about it. You're going to buy the car. Why? Because you need it and you found a solution to your problems. And I think it's important to consider if you had a legally binding guarantee that you could present to your homeowner that said, I guarantee you that we have the highest quality product, the best warranty, the best customer service, the best installers in the industry, all for the absolute lowest price possible. The amount of people that would say, I need to think about it, if they had that legally binding guarantee right in front of them, would be 1/100th of what it is in real life. Because what I need to think about it really means is that they just don't have the information that they need to be able to make a decision. And they don't have that feeling of comfort, that feeling of security that they are making the right decision. So if you're getting that a lot, if your customers say, I need to think about it, you have to internalize that and say, what am I missing from my presentation that is causing them to feel like they don't have enough information to act now? So that's what we're going to work on today is what little things can we sprinkle in specifically to attack that problem.
Can I add something to that real quick, TJ?
Yeah.
Somebody taught me a long time ago, and I don't even know why we were talking about birds, but they were talking to me about how, if you own a bird, one of the important things is you have to occasionally file the bird's beak down a little bit. And the reason that you do that, I don't know, but they said that you have to be very careful because if you file it down too much, you could actually drown the bird when the bird goes to get something to drink. And I know over the last several years, sales trainers, sales managers have come into home improvement companies and said, your presentations are too long. Customers don't want to hear all this. Cut it out, eliminate all of it, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, there's some merit to things being too long. But I think what's starting to happen is a lot of, how do you say this? Inexperienced or unsuccessful people are convincing people that have been successful that they need to cut things down and water down their sales presentations. And they're watering them down so much that what you just said, TJ, about they haven't been given enough information to make a decision, you end up cutting way too much out. And now the customer can't make a decision because all the things that were in there before, that was the recipe to creating that sale, or what you and I talk about as a perfect presentation, is gone because we've watered it down so much. So we got to be very careful when we're finding ways to save time on presentations, that we're not taking out the things the customer needs to know and hear to make a decision today.
Yeah, and like you said, there is some validity. I'm sure there are some companies that have very, very long, very, very wordy presentations, but I do think there is an overreaction to that in some places in the industry, where people are coming in saying, hey, instead of doing a presentation, just make it a conversation. Just ask them what they need and tell them 4 or 5 things and wrap up the deal. And it just doesn't work that way. And you can see that in the results. Like, there's a company specifically that you and I are very aware of that took that philosophy and had that mindset, and it's not really working out. So I think it's important to remember that the recipe exists for a reason, because it works. And it does evolve as time goes on. Like, the things that you and I were doing 15 years ago are slightly different from what we do now. We've shortened some things and we've added some things, and things do evolve and change as time goes on, as the industry changes. But ultimately, the recipe stayed the same. Like, we're still baking a cake. We didn't decide to get rid of cake and start making gingerbread. It's still a cake.
Right. Yeah, I think when you're working with salespeople, when you go through the interviewing process, you find basically one of 3 people. You find those diamonds in the rough that are going to be successful regardless of what you sell, regardless of your selling system. They're just going to go out and they're going to close. And you and I know a couple guys like that are just world-class sales reps, closers, 50% to issue all day long, year after year.
They've got that it factor that you just can't teach.
Yeah. And then you got that group of people that either they don't like people, or they're not likable, or, they just don't get it and they have no business being in sales. But there's that middle group that possess a lot of the skill and a lot of the personality to be successful in sales, but they need a system to follow that helps them be successful. And what ends up happening when you get into this, let's just have a conversation mode and let's forget the presentation, you basically start eliminating that middle group. And that's when you see your turnover skyrocket, because now you're interviewing, trying to find, the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys of the world. And you need some Kirk Cousins and some, I'm trying to think of another mid-range quarterback. What was that Luck guy that played for the Colts?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
But not everybody's going to be a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning, but you can't build your organization around Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. You've got to have some Kirk Cousins and some Baker Mayfields and some Geno Smiths. You got to have some of those mid-range quarterbacks that have the ability to win you football games.
Absolutely. And, I'll be candid. I am a part of that middle group. I was not someone, and I still don't feel like I'm someone that has this incredible, natural born talent, this gift of gab. I think you're one of those people. I think you're a unicorn, and I think everybody's told you that for your entire career,
and I've never believed it. I mean, I learned and followed a system to the T when I was a sales rep because I knew nothing about sales.
well, so that's the thing. I think the reason that you've gotten to where you are in this industry is because you did both. You had the natural if factor and you followed the system. For me, I yeah, how do I say this? I am a product of the system. And
Yeah.
that's why I do this. And this is why I enjoy this, because I saw what following the system did for my life, where it took me from a retail Radio Shack sales rep making $11 an hour to making a six-figure income for the rest of my life. And again, knowing that I was not some uber talented, amazing, gifted individual, I saw what the system can do for anyone that has the drive and the willingness to believe in it, to follow it. And then, that's where my passion developed, to help people grow the same way that I grew, and helping them learn and adopt the same philosophies, the same processes. So yeah, it's super important.
Awesome. Well, we better get rolling on procrastination or we're going to forget why we're here today. So
Yeah, probably.
we can talk about training and hiring the right people and teaching them how to do it the right way. That's a whole other podcast itself. So let's talk about, like everything else that we talk about, you talked about blocking. And it starts in marketing. But real quick, you mentioned blocking earlier as a way to deal with an objection before it comes up. And I want to make sure everybody understands that it doesn't mean you're still not going to hear that objection.
Right.
What it means is it's going to make it much easier to overcome if you block it during the sales presentation, because we all know that, 90% of the time when you lay down price and you ask for the order, you're going to get smoke. You're going to get a stall. You're not going to get the real objection right out of the gates. And so blocking it properly during your presentation, now you're just reminding the homeowner of things that they said as a way to overcome the objection, versus you having to learn a close that does that for you. All you do is just remind them of the words they said. So we know it starts in marketing, Tim. So let's talk about how marketing starts blocking procrastination well before a sales rep ever gets to that house.
I think as far as marketing goes, it starts with having a phenomenal promotion. And that is a promotion that is a limited time offer to create urgency, because that is part of this, is that we do need to create some urgency, right? And I know we don't want to get off track with this, but we do talk to a lot of companies that run the same promotion every single month. It's the same thing over and over again. And I think it's important to understand the importance of changing promotions on a monthly basis. It's something new for your customers to see every month, something new when they're scrolling through your social media or getting emails. It's different, right? It's something that can engage them. It also rejuvenates the marketing department and helps the marketers feel like they're not doing the same exact thing, saying the same things over and over again. It just helps keep things fresh. But if you run the same promotion every single month, you're really not creating the urgency that you want to, because people are like, oh yeah, I got that same email 6 months ago. They do this thing every month. Your promotion becomes your retail price. And that kind of is the opposite of what we're trying to do with the promotion. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, one of the things that I think happens is when companies don't change that promotion on a monthly basis or every couple months, it gets stale. And not to get too deep into how the internet works, but when it comes to advertising on the internet, where your postings and different things are based on how often they're viewed. And when you have, you put something on there that customer is always seeing every time they see you online and they don't click it, you're actually getting pushed farther and farther down. And that's another reason why you need to create something and keep it fresh, so that you're getting those clicks and that you are staying up toward the top of the list. But you're right. You want your marketing team, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to go into your call center and your canvas room and your show and event meetings. And you want to be able to say, okay, here's the promotion we have this month. And you always want it to be, hey, this is one of the best promotions we've ever ran. This is how you pitch it properly. You want to be able to make sure your confirmation and your dispatch team understands the promotion so they can remind the homeowner. And then you want to be able to go into your sales meetings and you want to be able to show the promotion to your sales team, make sure they know how to pitch it properly, how they go over it properly when they lay down price. But the more that you change your presentations and the more enthusiasm, excitement that you get into your marketers and your sales reps, a couple things happen. Number one, you create more leads. Number two, you create more urgency with the homeowner because now you're telling the homeowner on the phone, look, I don't know when you're planning on doing this, but this is the best promotion that I remember. And you need to let us come out so you can take advantage of this savings. You're going to create more leads. You're going to eliminate procrastination. You're going to have a higher set rate. You're going to have a higher close rate. Your cost per lead is going to go down. But constantly changing that is just going to be something that it becomes a part of your monthly to-do list, and everybody gets excited about it, and you'll see instant results with it.
Yep, totally agree. And once we move past marketing, the next piece of that puzzle is in the confirmation department.
Right. And what's important there is not only to remind the homeowner about the promotion, but also to make sure we're talking about the time of the year when it's important. You know, like right now, you're not thinking about it because it's 90 degrees outside in most of the country. But, you know, we're just a few months away from, you know, the leaves falling and it's starting to get cold outside. And before you know it, it's going to be snowing and gas bills and electric bills are going to be through the roof. And we all know it takes time to get product. It takes time to get on the schedule and get the work done. So, you know, you want to be seeing, if you want to get this done before winter, now's the time to see us. And as we've always heard, Tim, when's the best time to buy snow skis?
In the summer.
And when's the best time to buy water skis?
In the winter.
In the winter. So if you're looking for energy efficient windows, best time to buy them's now.
Yep.
But, you know, when it's not freezing cold outside. So, and then the other thing that's important with the confirmation department is make sure the customer understands how busy we are. You know, and I know it's, you know, a lot of people are afraid to do takeaways, and that'll be a great meeting we could do one day, TJ, is a meeting on takeaways. But a good takeaway is to tell the homeowner, look, we are so busy right now because everybody is wanting to take advantage of this new promotion. Everybody's wanting to get a quote before winter gets here. Everybody's wanting to get their bathrooms remodeled. So if tomorrow at 4 o'clock is definitely not a good time for both you and Mr. Jones, let us know now. We'll reschedule it for a better time because we want to be able to maximize and see as many people as we can see, because it would be horrible if we came out to your house and it wasn't a good time for you when we have other homeowners sitting at home waiting for us to come out and see them. So take it away a little bit during the confirmation process. Your demo rates will go up. And again, you're helping to overcome procrastination or block it before we even get there.
Perfect.
What about sales, TJ? What can sales do, especially when they first get to the house, that can help eliminate and block procrastination?
Part of it kind of piggybacks on what you just said. So first, it is when you arrive at the home, your enthusiasm, your demeanor, your excitement to be there, of course, is really important. But if you are running a really strong promotion, have a handout and pass that out to the customer right when you get there, or maybe they received it at a home show or something before you arrive, but just make sure you get it in their hands and kind of introduce the idea of that promotion right from the very get-go. Introducing the concept of a limited time promotion right from the start of the appointment, I think, is important, but I think you have to do it with the right amount of tact to make it effective. Something that we talk about, and I know we'll cover this in future podcasts or webinars, is delivering a strong value of the visit statement when you first arrive. And we won't go into the specific language in that just yet, but I think a key ingredient to that, as it pertains to procrastination, is letting the customer know that this promotion does exist, that, hey, we're gonna leave you a price that's good for a year or a month or however long your regular retail prices are good for. But if you love the product and you want to get that project started sooner, we do have some promotions that are available, if you want to get started faster than that. So just something to introduce the idea of the promotion, but also make sure it's also known that it's time sensitive and that promotion is not your 1 year price or your 6 month price, that those are two different things. I think the setting the table correctly there is really important.
Awesome. And then also, again, take it away from them. So
Mhm.
after you've talked about that promotion, say, you know what? I don't know why I'm going over a promotion with you. I don't even know if I can help you. I don't even know if I've got something that's going to solve your problems. So why don't we take a look at your windows or take a look at your bathroom or your kitchen or wherever, whatever you're there for. And if I can help you, great. If I can't, I will point you in the right direction so that you can get your problem solved. But if I can help you and you do like my product, I'll pull this back out before I go and I'll show you how this promotion applies to you. And you know what? Like TJ said, if you're wanting to get this done even sooner than that, I've got some other promotions that you're going to fall in love with. But again, I'll go over all that with you if it makes sense to before I leave today. Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair.
Right. And I think another thing you said that's very important is when that sales rep shows up at that house, you need to be enthusiastic, excited to be there. Customer needs to see somebody that is just full of excitement and success. If you drag yourself up the driveway, oh, I don't want to be here, and oh, it's so hot outside, and I'm so tired, and it's so miserable. Man, you got to remember everything. You're passing your energy onto the homeowner. So, if you handshake, if you fist pump, high five, whatever you do, make sure the homeowner knows that you're very excited to be there. You're very grateful to be there. And again, the promotion's awesome. Can't wait to go over it with you. Thanks for letting me come and see you. We're going to have a great time. But you need to generate that type of energy and excitement when you arrive, because part of handling procrastination and blocking it is separating yourself from everybody else.
Yes.
Right. And you want to be the guy that's like, wow, those other guys and gals that came out to see us, they weren't that excited about being here. They weren't excited about their product or their company, not as much as TJ was. So make that great impression right from the door.
And a small nugget to go into that, because I've seen this a lot with the window company in Cleveland that we're working with. When your sales rep first arrives, offering to take your shoes off or just immediately putting on booties over top of your shoes can make a huge impression. I know it sounds so small, but people pay attention to little things like that, and those things matter. So that's a really nice touch, just to sprinkle in a little added professionalism.
Yep. And if you really want to take it to the next to the next level, if you can tell that they're impressed that you did it, look at them and say, "Don't worry, Mrs. Jones. When my installers get here, they'll do the same thing. They'll put booties on their work shoes so that they don't mess up your carpet or your tile."
Yeah, perfect.
Now you're really starting to future pace them a little bit.
Absolutely. And that leads into probably the most important part of the presentation as it pertains to procrastination for the sales rep, which is a dynamite killer inspection.
Yes.
This is by far the most important part. So it starts with a couple things. First is asking the right questions.
Yep.
You want to ask things like, how long has this been a problem? If you see missing tile in the bathroom, you're like, how long has it been like this? If you see mold and mildew, around the edge of the tub, ask them like, why haven't you got around to fixing this yet? And Phil, I know you've got a lot of great questions you like to ask in this time. Well, let's hear them.
Yeah, I think another good question for you to ask the homeowner is, how much longer do you think you can put up with this problem? Not only from if it's something that's damaging your house, how much longer do you think we can wait to fix this before the problem gets worse? And if it's a discomfort or a dislike, how much longer do you think you're going to be able to tolerate this and put up with this before you're like, enough is enough? I've got to solve the problem. You know what, TJ? It's kind of like when you go to the doctor and the doctor comes in and he starts to examine you and he's poking around and looking at different things. The doctor's going to start to point out issues. How does this feel? Does this hurt? And the more that they find and the more that they talk about, all of a sudden that sense of urgency to get it fixed goes up. If the doctor comes in and says, oh yeah, you've got a slight pull here, it's no big deal. You can get it fixed whenever you want to get it fixed. It's not a major deal right now. You're likely to just put it off. But, the worse the problem and the more problems you find, the more of a sense of urgency there is to get it done. But, make it, TJ hit it right on the head. How long has it been this way? Why haven't you gotten it fixed yet? Why have you put it off? How much longer are you going to be able to put up with it? How much longer do you think you can go before this gets worse? And then as you start to make suggestions, asking a simple question like, if you could find a solution to your problem and it was affordable, how much longer would you want to continue to go on with this mold in the bathroom, or these windows that you can't open, or gutters that are leaking down the side of your house, or a kitchen that you're embarrassed to show off when your friends and family come over? So again, creating that sense of urgency with, if all the stars lined up, would you do it now?
And occasionally you're going to run into leads where there might not be that immediate need, like especially on more design heavy projects like bathrooms or kitchens. There are going to be customers that there's really nothing wrong. It might just be outdated and they want to change the way it looks. And that happens sometimes. Right. But a little, and I think people get worried when that happens because they think, okay, now I can't create urgency. There is no urgency, right? Well, that's wrong. You can create a little added urgency in that scenario by saying things like, now, when do you want to wake up and walk into your brand new kitchen? Kind of future cast it and put that image of their head in their head of, man, it sure would be nice to walk into a kitchen that's totally remodeled and is gorgeous and set up exactly the way I want it, and get them kind of daydreaming about that. And even if there might not be a devastating house altering problem, they might start thinking about how nice it would be to have the finished product, and that can create urgency in and of itself.
Awesome. So, one of the things that we talked about on the last podcast when we were dealing with price conditioning is we talked about the cost versus value report.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you brought up that I love is taking the homeowner and saying, hey, let's take a look at this project 5 years ago. Let's take a look at this project 10 years ago, and showing them how much it's gone up during that time period. And then showing the homeowner, look, the longer you procrastinate, the longer you put this off, the more expensive it's going to be. And if it's going to be more expensive and you're financing, that means you're going to have a higher payment. It's going to take you longer to pay it off. And, John and Mary, as we get older, we want to be eliminating how much we're paying on a monthly basis, not adding to. So the time to get this done is not even today. And I don't want to give away a powerful close, but the time you got this done was 5 years ago when you first started thinking about it, because it would have cost you 25, 30% less and you would have already paid it off. So use your cost versus value as a way to block procrastination as well.
The next area would be company story, and what can we do to block procrastination during company story? And I think that is really creating the bandwagon effect. I think showing proof of, high reviews, many installs, happy customers, creating that bandwagon effect can help reduce that stress. Because again, procrastination is I don't have enough information, right? So making sure that the customer feels secure is important. And very few things make someone feel more secure than a 5-star rating and a bunch of happy customers behind you. So making sure that you create that bandwagon effect is going to be the most important part of company story.
Right. And as you go through your online social media, you go through your scores and you show them how many stars you are and what your rating is at Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. And you start to talk about maybe you won a best of your city award or this, that, or the other. It's showing that homeowner that, hey, we're one of the largest companies in your area. And what that means is that your family and your friends and your neighbors choose to do business with us. And knowing that there's a very high percentage of people that base their decisions on the reviews and what they read on the internet, that must mean that we have great reviews and great feedback because people trust us. When people say we're going to go out and get another estimate, we're the company that they end up doing business with because we solve their problems. We have fair pricing. We make it affordable for you. So as you go through your company story and you're showing them things about how long you've been in business, how many employees you have, your affiliations, those types of things, make sure you mention to the homeowner, again, putting product and price aside, assuming you love my product and assuming it's affordable, isn't this the type of company you want to do business with? That way, at the end of the night, when you are dealing with procrastination, you know what, John and Mary, you already told me if you love my product and it was affordable, it was my company that you wanted to do work with. So again, part of blocking procrastination and going back to what we talked about last week, the company is just as important as the product that you're selling when you're justifying the value and the price. So eliminating procrastination, same concept. Who you do business with is just as important as what you have done. So
Sure.
Also, when you go through your product demo, one of the things you want to make sure as you show them your exclusive features is to say to them, now that this exists, would you settle for anything less? And they say no. And you say, so if you were to put, this roof on your house, would it be important to you to have this type of a shingle? Well, yes. Okay. Or when you put the windows in your house, is this the type of spacer system you want to see in your home? Yes. That way, as you build some of those through your product demo, part of handling procrastination is, there's really nothing to think about. You think about this for a second. You already told me that we're the company you want to do business with, right? That's one less thing to think about. You already told me this is the spacer you want. This is the glass package you want. This is the frame that you want. This is the warranty you want. One more or less thing to think about. So handling procrastination, again, is getting it down to what's left, the payment, affordability. So John and Mary, can you afford $175 a month? Now, keep in mind, a good portion of that $175 you're already paying right now through your electric and gas company. Because as you start to see that savings, you can apply that toward the monthly investment on the windows. So if that's affordable, there's really nothing left to think about, is there? So getting those blocks in through your product demo is just as important as you do when you go through your company.
And then the last section here is laying down price. And I think the key in this section is to recap the decisions they've already made and to just reconfirm that they still stand behind those decisions. When you go through your product recap, I like to start with the materials and the items first and then end with services. So all of these products that we just covered also comes with the warranty that we covered earlier, the installers that we covered earlier, any bonus services or things you have. And of course, this includes all labor, all material, all taxes, cleanup and haul away of all job related debris. And we can get it done in 1 day or 2 days or however long the project is gonna take. But taking a moment to recap the full project, I think, can add a little extra urgency and a little more buy-in at the very end of your presentation.
Yeah, awesome. And then again, reminding them of the price conditioning, reminding them of cost versus value, reminding
Yeah.
them of the local pricing, reminding them of, using Tony Hody's price guide, and making sure that they understand the value of the project, so that when you lay down that price, they're like, wow, that's less than we thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And by building that value and price conditioning properly, again, one less thing to think about. So it's easy to come back to them and say, John and Mary, there's really nothing left to think about except, do you want to put your deposit on a check, or do you want to put it on your debit card? So let's get the project rolling. So, it's imperative that you understand, again, blocking doesn't mean that you're going to not hear it. But what it does is it takes it away from being a true objection, and it should be easy for you to overcome at the end.
The way I like to visualize blocking objections is, let's imagine that the objection is a fence, and you are trying to climb that fence to get over to the other side, which is a sale. If you don't block the objection, that fence is real tall, and it's hard to climb a 6-foot fence and get over the top of that thing, right? But what you're doing with blocking objections is you're building stairs. And sometimes those stairs are so tall, they take you over the fence. Sometimes they take you right up to the top of that fence. So you occasionally do have to try to overcome it. Again, like you said, sometimes they will still say those things at the end, but you've built such a tall foundation that getting over that's much easier than trying to jump from the ground up.
That's awesome. Yeah, and again, when you're laying down price and you're starting to get some of those objections, again, and we're gonna talk about this and work on this in our closers camps coming up. But you have to handle what they say. You can't just ignore it. And even if it's not the real objection, they will be offended if you don't try to handle it and move on to something else. But again, it's just much easier to overcome something when the homeowner has already said it. I heard a long time ago that a homeowner most likely won't believe something that a salesperson says, but they will always believe what they said. And as you go through your presentation and you get them involved and you get them saying things like, yeah, I agree with you. If I am going to put windows in my house, that's the spacer I want in my window. Well, guess what? If that's exclusive to your company, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
If they want that spacer, they're going to need to go with your windows. So anything else as we wrap up, TJ?
Yeah, I think just as a final nugget here, would you agree that overall, 99% of the time, when the customer says, I want to think about it, I need to sleep on it, I need to pray about it, or whatever, that is not the real objection. They really don't intend to actually do those things.
No, they're not going to do that. They're just, there's a funny dynamic that takes place on a sales presentation, and that is, you go from being that salesperson that's there to steal their money to that guy that they want to introduce to their daughter, or the grandson that they wish they had, or a friend that they want to have over for a party. The dynamic changes between you, and the relationship changes based on your ability to properly build rapport. And if you're a likable, fun person and you're focusing what you're doing based on their wants and their needs, all of a sudden they feel differently about you. And sometimes people don't want to hurt your feelings, or they might be embarrassed to tell you the truth. It's a lot easier for somebody who is behind on their bills and they're trying to figure out how they're going to be able to afford new windows to tell you, you know what, we just need to think about it, versus, well, we're behind on our bills and we don't know how we're going to pay for windows, because they don't want you to look down on them, or they don't want to be embarrassed. So again, when you hear that at the end of the night, if you've done your job properly, it doesn't mean that. It's just that is a comfortable, think about it when you're in a store and you walk into a store, you're there. Let's say you're running behind and you're on the way to church or a wedding or a sales appointment, and you forgot to put your belt on. So you run into Kohl's real quick to get a belt, and you're running through the store and somebody stops you and says, "Sir, can I help you?" "Nope, I'm just looking." Right? "Leave me alone." And then you get like one step, two steps, and you turn around, you're like, "Hey, where's the belts?" Right? We're automatically programmed and built to say, "No, I'm good. I just need to look around. I need some time." When really I need to know where the belts are because I'm running late. But our first impulse and that first reaction is, "No, I'm good. Not today. I'm not ready to make a decision yet," or "I don't need help." But actually we do. So good stuff. I love talking about blocking objections. We're going to spend some time talking about how to block all objections as we go. And one thing I'll say to sales managers, sales directors, owners of your company, if you're not happy where you're at with your results, and one of the things that you've been thinking about is, our sales presentation needs a facelift. We need to come into 2024. We need to update and have a more powerful approach. One of the things that we put into our methodology and our presentations is how to block objections before they come up. That's part of our scripting. It's part of our methodology. It's part of our system. So if you like the concept of eliminating objections before they happen, it might be time to take a look at what you're doing and give us an opportunity to help you go to the next level. So again, thank you to our sponsors. TJ, you want to run down our sponsors one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. Huge shout out to Builder Prime, Engage, and Hiring Strategies. Amazing partners, happy to support them, amazing products. And just another reminder that if you would like to have a chance to win a free attendance to our first webinar, please send an email with your name, your company name, your position over to phil@tonyhody.com, and we will select a winner for you and your whole organization to attend our first webinar for free. That webinar will take place probably sometime early Q4, right around there toward the fall. But yeah, we're just really looking forward to our first webinar and getting into some really powerful material that we know can really help you.
Awesome. All right. Well, TJ, you have a good day. Everybody that's out there listening, thank you again for your support, and go sell something.
And if you or your business is in need of training, recruiting, process development, or consulting, you can contact us here at Tony Hody Training and Consulting by visiting tonyhody.com. Click the contact tab and enter your information for a free consultation to see how we can help you grow your business. Tony Hody Training and Consulting, teaching ordinary people how to do extraordinary things.